all of my landscape heroes that ran and built giant companies or big companies that I really respected, they were all divorced. Yeah, I mean, almost all of them. And we just talked about, like, is that the cost of entry? Like, know what it takes to go to 10 mil to 20 to 30?
Which that's when we decided to hire our marriage coach. And we're like, okay, if we're going to do this, then we're going to do this with them.
Hey guys, Kevin here. We are here today in beautiful Miami, this incredible Intercontinental resort with Mark Bradley and the Lean Scaper team. We've had an amazing couple days. We've still got another half day to go tomorrow, but we're here with Brittany and Caleb Auman from Allman Landscaping. We've got some great tips today on how couples can succeed being entrepreneurs and how they work together, and some tips on what's really working for them. So let's get into it. So yeah, let's just talk about being here in Miami at Lean Scaper, the Lean Scaper event, all about people growth. What were some of the bigger takeaways from today? I mean, we were just talking about it. My mind's kind of spinning still from the day and from yesterday, but man, some good stuff.
Jeez, there's so much. But I think the main thing for me, and it's just been pulling at me for a while, but it's finally maybe more the clincher of the need for more accountability in my company, for myself and for our team, of just like how we measure success and what winning is. And so that's been a big push for us since we've been involved in the Lean Scaper thing. And now today, again, just hearing it more and seeing more of the scorecards, just the implementation of that, I think is, and Brittany's been trying to do that here for a little bit and been doing pretty good. I'm not even trying. She's been doing that and doing a great job with the rollout of it here. So for me, that was it. Just getting more serious about accountability.
Yeah.
I think for me, especially so we were in Nashville for the Hardscape event, and then we did the virtual ones, and now we're here. So brain overload. My brain is at max capacity right now. But for me, what I've realized through all the events, and yesterday and today really are hammering that in, but it's like my team can't succeed until I become a better leader. And so I am really trying to focus, and I'm going back through all the questions I've asked, mentors and people in the industry. I'm like, is that a people problem or is that a me problem?
Right.
And the answer that I come to every time is like, no, Brittany, you just weren't ready to lead in that way at that time.
Right.
But now I am. And so now my question has been to people talking throughout the day. It's like, okay, I'm the right leader now, right? I'm working on being the right leader. What can I do? How do I know if my team now is full of the right people?
Right.
So I've been getting a lot of feedback throughout the day for that, and that's what I'm here to figure out.
Right. Yeah, it's incredible. I always find it's so hard to take it all in, like we were just talking about before we got on. Like, there's always so much that comes from these events, and especially when you get a team that Mark's put together, like the information sharing, the people that are at the event. I think there's 200 people, he said. So many great ideas. But let's maybe back up a little bit to more of an intro about you guys. Tell us about your landscape business. I know you got some kids courses that you run. So you run some construction programs. You got a huge following on Instagram. What other things you got? Kids running around.
Go ahead.
I want to hear how you describe the company these days.
Okay, so we are out of Carroll, Ohio, which is just south of Columbus a little bit. We are landscape design build primarily. We do a little bit of stormwater commercial work that Caleb and I still self-perform.
Right.
We have 7 guys on staff this year in the field. Our goal is 2.2 million is the revenue goal target. And we have 3 kids at home. I homeschool 2 of them.
Okay.
Right now, it's just Caleb and I in the office. We have a virtual assistant, and we brought on a salesperson this year. So last year, for the first year ever, we hit all of our targeted numbers, every single one of them. And I can't tell you how much of a relief that was knowing that we could do it. Because before that, it was just a bunch of targets that we weren't hitting.
Right.
And last year, we committed to it. Right. And so seeing that, I think, is what has given us the confidence to be okay with growth and to move forward with that.
Right.
So we plan to double in size this year, and we have our 5-year and our 10-year goal, and I'm really excited to see what we do with it.
Amazing. What do you do with all your free time? Yeah.
Okay. So with our free time, we host a marriage conference for people in the industries.
Very good. I didn't know that. That's
couples that work together. It's called Together in the Trades. It's kind of a passion project that we run with another couple in the industry, Brian and Liz Fullerton.
Okay.
We do the Hardscape Academy, which is online and in-person training for people kind of breaking into the hardscaping industry. So you're just getting the basics, start to finish of paver and retaining wall construction.
Right.
But I mean, that right there has been Caleb's passion project. I would say I love doing it. I love helping people, but he's the brains of that operation. And I think he has like a very purposeful mission with that.
Yeah, is that something you always like to do, is train?
I didn't realize that I just enjoyed sharing what I've learned, and then kind of my purpose on that, because I've crashed a company prior to the one her and I run together now. My goal, my altruistic goal is to help people not make the same mistakes I did, or hopefully if I offer it out there of like, this is where I screwed up in running my first company. And then also just trying to pass on and share stuff that I learned from my dad and from mentors and just all the construction training and seminars and things I've gone through over the years. And so just I just enjoy passing that on. And so that's kind of, again, maybe my passion project there, I suppose. But yeah, that's a big deal to me.
It's amazing. I love it. It's interesting to hear about this couples thing as well, because my wife and I've been in business 17 years. For the first 7 years, it was my wife and I that did all the bookkeeping, all the financials, and it was really tough. We were working out of the house. Our kids were younger then too, so there was this constant, I'd be out in the field all day. We'd have dinner. The kids would do something. We'd do paperwork. She was pulling at me for something. We're trying to do, deal with the kids and sports. And so what sort of advice or tips can you give guys? I mean, obviously you've been dealing with this for a long time and working at it for a long time, and obviously helping other people do it. What are some of the tips that, because I think it's pretty common in the industry?
I'd say first off, it sounds like we have a guest speaker for 2026. I think for us, it's been really big, and as we have coaches in our business life and fly fishing coaches, we've one thing we've learned is coaches and mentors are a cheat code to life.
Right.
You take someone's knowledge, right, that they've had for 10, 15, 20 years, their entire life, whatever, and they can distill it down to you, hopefully in monthly, like bite-sized increments. So we have a marriage coach that Brad and Tammy Miller, and they're awesome, and they just kind of help us navigate life and things we're doing there. But mostly it's communication. And I think the biggest thing there is understanding that, like, when I say, just for a metaphor, I suppose, or whatever it is, like I say the color red, she hears purple or blue. Just understanding communication of how something sounds versus, or how something came across, and just being like, I know you didn't mean it this way, but it sounded to me like, I know you didn't mean to be hurtful or disrespectful. And just really learn to be very open and vulnerable. That really saves a lot of trouble, because we're both pretty bullheaded, right? Really, if we're going to be honest with each other or honest with ourselves. And
most business owners are.
It seems that's a personality type, yeah. And so that's pretty tough at times. And so taking that and then putting it with a marriage, because all the problems, as you well know, all the problems of the day still go home, and you wake up with the problems of business too. And just trying to compartmentalize that, which is still so hard, right? But communication, working on your communication, and just always working on yourself is the key, I think.
And that, like, trusting that your spouse, like, we're both working towards the same goal, right? We create our family goals, our life goals together. We're on the same team. And reminding ourselves of that and learning to trust each other. Like, Caleb may have said it this way, but I know he didn't mean it that way. And I have to put my selfish, emotional side away. Like, in reality, he made a call. It may not have been my call, but he made a call knowing what our goal is.
Right.
And then a lot of the other stuff that we've been working on as far as, working better together. And we knew one thing that we've noticed is a lot of companies that have in the industry and even outside of the industry that have grown to be fairly large have done it at the cost of their marriages.
Right.
And
that was just one of the costs, unfortunately.
Right.
Yes.
And looking at that and knowing that kind of held us back from growth for a long time, because I was like, well, nothing's more important than my marriage, right?
Yeah.
My marriage,
all of my landscape heroes that ran and built giant companies or big companies I really respected, they were all divorced. Yeah, I mean, almost all of them. And we just talked about, like, is that the cost of entry? Like, is that what it takes to go to 10 mil to 20 to 30?
Which that's when we decided to hire our marriage coach.
Right.
And we're like,
Smart.
Okay, if we're going to do this, then we're going to do this with them. And so we meet with them every month. And when I talk about, like, becoming a leader of leaders and professional development, a lot of the marriage coaching was personal development and understanding who I am and why I act the way that I do. Because once I understood how that my child life and my upbringing, that affects how I talk to my husband, to my kids, and to my employees, and my clients. And the more I learn about myself, the better person that I'd become, because I can react appropriately in different situations, understanding what my brain is trying to tell me at the same time.
Right. I think it's something that people don't often, reflect on either. They don't really understand why they feel the way they do, or, and the fact that how you're raised is so reflective in who you are. It's a big struggle. We were talking a lot about it today. When you're trying to convince people to adopt goal setting into their life, often people just don't know if they haven't done it. It's like vision boarding. I love the vision board, but trying to get buy-in on a vision board sometimes people really struggle with it.
Yeah.
So I think it's amazing that you're able to know how difficult it can be, recognize it when it happens, and then the fact that you're helping other people get through it is pretty incredible as well.
Yeah, that part, just on that real quick, feedback we have gotten from that from the conference is really amazing. It really is one of those things, like, it's truly like a philanthropic front for us and to do it, because it's tough to run as a business, let's say. But like the feedback you get of the speakers we have, be it professionals and like licensed and professionals and things like that. But the feedback you get is just is truly filling, to like, you really helped our marriage, saved our marriage in some cases, we've been told. It's such a cool thing to be part of. So yeah,
very rewarding.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Everyone's going through the same thing.
Right.
Yeah, everybody thinks they're alone, right? With their problems, with their struggles, and so we're trying to show that in business, whatever it is, like, we're all struggling with the same thing.
Well, and it's funny how, like, even at these events, you have these businesses that are all at massive financial difference level wise, but everybody has the same issues, right? All the issues are very common, and everybody has a different way to get through them. Talk about being entrepreneurs. Was this something you always knew you wanted to be?
My dad was an entrepreneur, and so we watched him work in the business. I got on and off the bus at his office, so I was with him till the end of the day. It is not what I thought that I would end up doing. I went to work out of college. I have a marketing degree. Went to college, left with a marketing degree. I went to work in corporate America, got the big girl job that I always wanted, that my mom had. 9 to 5 wasn't for me. I wasn't passionate about what I was doing. And I would come home complaining every day.
Right.
Just didn't like this, or didn't like the way they did this, or whatever. And Caleb's like, well, why don't you just quit and come work with me?
Right.
Like, I don't know. Like, you're not making very much money right now.
Yeah. Well, my company, we had, just to be completely open, and I share this a lot. So, but again, it's part of like my goal is to help people not make the same mistakes I did. But like, we were just fresh out of I say we, but I was just fresh out of bankruptcy. I had like $22 in my name. I had nothing, no prospects. But but it was just like, well, I'm trying to rebuild the company, and it was just like, I mean, what the heck? We'll swing for the fences. And
I think the fact that we had absolutely nothing at the time. I mean, what do you got to live? I mean, we're all in.
Right.
And my mom did not agree. I did not have the support of my parents, but I quit that job. And we dug our heels in and went for it. So
amazing. It's a great story, actually. What do you think was one of the contributing factors to the success you've had so far? Like, was it, the fact that you had been through it before, or have you learned how you wanted to do things differently because of what you learned the last time?
I wasn't smart enough to know I should have quit a long time ago, and so there's nothing else I ever wanted to do. Since I was probably 15 or 16, I wanted to start a lawn care business. I wanted to get into environmental construction and then landscape construction, and then just developed the love, or understood, I guess, my love for horticulture and construction practices, and I just ate it up, and I really just wanted, for whatever reason, I just saw the best way to fully embrace, at the time, at least fully embrace what I wanted to do, was to do it myself. And but I tell you, like, we struggled for so long. It's been this bell curve of learning, and we still have so far to go too. Like, we still don't know anything. And Brittany was talking about leadership earlier, like, we're the leaders now we need to be. And yes and no, right? We're as good as we know to be now, but we know that we can be way better, right? And so it's not like we've got it figured out. We sure don't. I mean, we're a small company. It's one of those things, just even in the last 3 years, I think we've really had some epiphany moments, and a huge thanks to, Allman on that, and Mark Bradley. And I mean, I got my college professors. There's a ton of people I just would hate to start the list for fear of leaving someone out. But
Right.
but just these aha moments that start to unfold, and like I said, we have so far to go still. And even today, things are unlocked of like, yeah, that's what we need to do. And so,
But I really think what kept us going the whole time is like, if one of us was ready to give up, we have the other person there to pull us through that. And
yeah, usually that seemed to somehow coincide where we both weren't so beaten down that day or week or whatever that the other person would carry through or pull through, maybe.
we don't want to lose.
Right.
And, tie that with like having someone to pull you through the rough times.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just perseverance. We're just going to get it done.
Relentless. And amazing, like, for doing it again. Right? Like, it takes a lot of courage, and I can appreciate that. I think it's an interesting thing too, because often as a business owner, when you're not with your spouse or your partner, it's really hard to bring that stuff home. Like, when you are struggling at work and you don't want to bring them down, or that, you're just busy with the kids or whatever it might be, it's cool that you guys can do it together and have that support, because we, touched on coaching earlier. Often find that coaching is more like, just supporting people and, trying to steer them in the right direction more so than it is, you're teaching them obviously to try and be a better owner, but a lot of it's a little bit therapeutical as well. Yeah. I don't know if that's a word either. Therapeutic. But I think that's an awesome thing that you guys can do it together and, have that person to bounce those things off of.
Most days, we very rarely come close to homicide or anything like that working together, but there are days where I'm pretty sure I push her buttons pretty bad, and rightfully so. She deserves to whack me over the head once in a while with something, but overall, it's awesome. It's our thing. It's our connection. I don't know. I really sometimes don't know what we would do if we weren't working together. It would just be, I don't know, but that's our thing. We love it, and we're so blessed to be with so many people. So.
Right. Amazing. What do you think it is about your Instagram account? Like, why do you think you have so many, like, you're over 46,000 followers? I mean, I get it. I know why it's good. I know what draws people to it, but like, is it something you guys enjoy doing, or is it, just to offer support to other people and show people what you're doing?
I think the draw is the vulnerability that we are willing to share. We share a lot about it.
Yeah, and it's amazing.
And, there is some highlight points, right? But it is definitely not a highlight reel.
Right.
And I think people trust that, right? Because like Mark says, people are seeking love and connection.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
people are able to connect with the page or with our YouTube video or with podcast, because like we share the problems that are going on in the company as they're happening.
Right.
Like if I roll out a meeting and it sucks that day, it's like, okay, guys, well, let's talk about what I did. And here was the response I got. Hopefully you can do better with this.
Right.
And I think, I don't know, the vulnerability, I think, is really what the draw is.
One of the main drives, again, it falls back on our purpose with that stuff, I think, anyways, is, she'll have, like moms reach out to her that they're thinking about quitting their stable 6-figure paying job to join their husband's company or whatever, and vice versa even at times. And, we're looked after or looked to for this advice. And I never, ever, I won't be able to sleep at night if I'm giving this perception that this is easy, we get to go to Miami and do all this cool stuff, and it was easy, or I wasn't bankrupt at one point, or we don't fight because of the company, and like it doesn't put strain on our children, and like we don't want to make this look easy. We do want to encourage people, if you want to do it, do it. Don't live with regret of not ever trying it. But it's the big thing of just, it's not easy, but it's worth it ultimately, but it's not going to be easy.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely not for everybody, and I think until you're really into it, it's hard to appreciate. What if you could look kind of 5 years out, what would be different than it is now? Like the team size and kind of revenue, and what's your long-term play?
The 5-year goal is 7 million.
Beautiful.
And we created because of Creative Roots, Ryan. Mm-hmm. We talked to him. We created what the org chart looks like at 5 years and 10 years and all the positions available. And I put that up out in the shop for our laminated, so everyone can see it. And that was one thing I picked up in Nashville. I hope we make it there, but
you will.
The most important part is happy team, good numbers.
Right.
And because if I get to 7 million and I have like a 2% net profits,
yeah.
What did I do wrong? So, I mean, all of it's management along the way. And, maybe we get stuck at 5 because we're looking for the right team to go to 10 or to go further on. So I'm open to the flow of it, but, it's still good to have those in place.
To kind of end, what would be a good tip to provide other couples with, or even just, landscape owners in general, knowing what you guys know now? You're on your way to $2+ million. You've obviously started below that, and I think the majority of construction companies in the U.S. and certainly in Canada too are all under $1 million. But if you could go back to when you were that $500,000 company or $700,000 company, what would you tell people?
Personally, believe in your spouse, whether they work with you or don't. Believe that they have the best in mind, and then the same goes for your team too. Right. Believe the best in your team. I am guilty of not doing that.
It's tough. It can be tough.
And
that's some of the best tips to give.
It makes me very sad to say that, but I haven't always, and that's something that I'm working on.
Yeah, amazing.
My contribution to that would be a relentless pursuit of working on yourself, and that's something again we've started really in the last 3 years of just attending stuff like this and just plugging into the community at a more, working on myself, how I communicate, and just a lot of self-development, personal development. That is huge. But at the same time in business, like the cliche, you got to know your numbers, you got to delegate. There's so much, man. There's all these different.
It's not one right.
There is, and I don't feel like it. But everything got to rise at once.
If you
it's so
work
hard.
on yourself, if you're working on yourself, I think everything else will follow. It's when you're selfish and you have if you have a fixed mindset, nothing else will grow. You won't be willing to hire a CFO or a bookkeeper or any of those basic things that people need to do. You won't be willing to go get a software or estimate your budgeting.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a fixed mindset, you'll be like, well, I could just fix it by putting in extra work or working extra late tonight. No, that is not what you should be doing at $500,000. You should be figuring out the systems and processes. That is a growth mindset.
Yeah, we need to be working harder in a smart way.
I think that holds true like all the way through at the different phases of revenue and the things you need to do. But if you can start with all those things, you'll get there. You'll get there. But thanks for coming on today, guys.
Thank you. It's a privilege to be on. Thank you.
Yeah, and listen, we're big fans too. We love watching along on Instagram. Love seeing you guys at these events. I love seeing the progression. I love that you're doing it together. That's very cool as well, knowing how hard it is. Yeah, thanks a lot for coming on.
Man, thank you
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Cheers. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, guys.